If you look at your life right now and you are not happy with where things are at, well, that's the indicator that it is time to change, because everything you have done up until now has not led you where you want to be.
Ignition sequence start. 3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Today, I'm here hoping to be able to interview Joey Wilder. He is the creator, inventor, founder, you name it.
We have Joey Wilder, first time coming on the show.
But at that moment, I had a choice to make. I either hit this while it's hot, while people are hyped up about it, or kind of let it simmer out. And I've been told by many great mentors that it's all about the timing of things.
When it comes to leading through tension, you need to recognize that leadership isn't built in your highlight reels. It's built in the pressure that no one sees. Now, in today's training, we are going to find ourselves at the intersection of where theory meets heat. Now, up until now, if you've listened to each episode cohesively, you've forged identity, you've expanded emotional command, you've anchored your mission and direction, and you have shattered old patterns, excuses, and ceilings. But none of that matters if you crumble when the pressure hits. None of that matters. Now, this is the crucible. This is the point of tension. Because real leadership doesn't show up when you're in flow. It shows up when you're in the thick of the fire. And it shows up when you refuse to flinch. As anyone can lead when it's easy. But very few men are able to hold their frame when they're being held to the fire, when they're disappointed, or when the plan blows up right in front of them. Now, today's training is going to be where performers die and real leaders are born. You're not here to explain. You're not here to escape. You're here to lead. Now, I want to talk about the silent assassin, which is avoidance. Gentlemen, what you avoid today will cost you everything tomorrow. Tension ignored doesn't just disappear. It doesn't vanish. It compounds quietly and relentlessly. Think about compound interest. Now, this compounds in unspoken frustrations that become resentment, unmade decisions that become missed missions, and untouched fears that become the slow suicide of your potential, which lead to you becoming a shell of the man you once were. Gentlemen, avoidance isn't a strategy, it's a death sentence. And it doesn't protect peace, it kills it. This reminds me of my client, and we're going to call him Brandon. Now, he was the classic nice guy leader. My nice guys, my Mr. Nice Guys, put your hands up. This is for you. He would keep quiet to keep the peace. He would do this in his marriage, in his business, in his own mind. And in the end, it cost him a ton of emotional corrosion, a team that really didn't trust his direction, and a marriage that was slipping slowly into apathy. And when he finally chose to step toward the pressure, he didn't do this with aggression. He did this with presence and awareness. He stopped collapsing and started commanding. And he learned this truth. Avoidance doesn't keep things safe. It keeps things stagnant, and stagnant things will always simmer out and die. Now, this next section is what I like to call the conflict isn't the problem, your relationship to it is. The conflict isn't the problem, your relationship to it is. A few episodes ago, I mentioned how stop arguing about what's not really the problem. Have you ever noticed you're not actually mad about like the thing, you're mad about the way you feel about the thing. And I'm not saying that the thing doesn't piss you off also, but there's usually a rough underlying layer there. Now, in this, when you recognize that conflict isn't the enemy, your framing is, you can begin to see that tension isn't chaos. It's actually the call to step forward. Guys, average men fear conflict. They're afraid of their wives. They're afraid of their superiors. They're afraid of their friends. They're afraid to bring things up because they don't want to cause a problem. They don't want to make people mad. God forbid you make someone mad from sharing your truth. Guys, real men who choose to forge their leadership and show up with compassion without compromise recognize that inside every moment of high stakes tension, there's a rare window to raise the standard, to speak that buried truth, to evolve your leadership in real time. And guys, you either run from the fire or you allow it to refine you. And you need to recognize that the fire is not here to destroy and consume, but it's here to purge what can no longer continue on. I want to tell you a story about Chris. Now, Chris used to just blow up. He would implode under pressure. He would do this in boardrooms. He'd fold. He'd start over-explaining, and he'd apologize for having an opinion. And after we began working together, we've been together for about 3 years now, he started to reframe tension as seeing it instead of a threat, but as an invitation. He started to sit in that heat. He would have a sense of stillness, some certainty, and clarity. His voice didn't rise. His presence did. And suddenly those same meetings that used to unravel him, now they revolved around his opinions and his ideas. Now, I want to parlay into what I am calling the anchor phrase. Now, this is something that you will repeat until it lives in you. An example would be, this isn't a punishment. This is my promotion. One of my anchor phrases for a very long time was, I flow with the waves of change. I accept God's calling on my life to walk each step with purpose and my next with conviction. And I would repeat that in my mind until I remembered it consistently, and it rang in the back of my mind. And what this did is it kept me hyper-focused. It kept that thing on the forefront of my mind. Because your vision needs to be greater than your fear of failing, your fear of just not getting where you want to be. And I'm not trying to be overly pseudo-motivational, but I truly mean that. Like, words have power, and if you prophesy it, it will be. If he brought everything into the world with the breath of a word, and we are made in his image, our words have power as well. And I believe that some individuals need to be more conscious on the words they are saying out loud and the things they are thinking in their mind, because those things do come to fruition if you think hard enough on them. And I'm not saying like you're going to manifest this thing in front of you. That's not what I'm saying. But what I am saying is having an anchor phrase, something that reminds you of why you actually started. When I first started working out, I couldn't run a mile on the treadmill. I couldn't without stopping and walking. And I wanted to be able to do that so bad. And I wore one of those Live Strong bracelets. And I used to look down at that bracelet when I would run, and I would see the words Live Strong. And I couldn't help but think in that moment, that's what I want. I want to live strong. Because there was an experience that I had while I was hiking with friends, and I was a teenager, and we were off trail, and I went to like pull myself up something, and I was a fat little kid. PFJ, previously Fat Joey, he still lives inside. But during this phase, he was the one driving the ship. All of my friends had just gotten up the rock. They pulled themselves up. And I went to do it, and I couldn't physically do it. And I felt so vulnerable in that moment. And I felt so horrible. My friends had to get back down. They had to push me up. Like, I felt really embarrassed. So when I would look down at that bracelet that said the words "live strong," in those moments, that's what I wanted. I wanted to live strong. And that anchor phrase carried me through, and I was able to drastically change the trajectory of my life when it comes to health and wellness. Now, this next section is what I call the emotional command framework. Gentlemen, you don't manage chaos, you master yourself. Tension is not about them, it's about the internal agreements. When the heat spikes, most men lose their breath, their clarity, and their power. This does not have to be you. Now, what you're going to do is you are going to run the 3-part emotional command framework. Now, guys, this is directly coming from neuroscience. Now, the first thing you're going to do is root your body. Now, your nervous system is your command center. That's why we have to win that first. Now, you're going to plant your feet, drop your shoulders, and just breathe in through your nose. The goal is to have a still body, still mind, and strategic speech. Now, if your body's frantic, your mouth will follow. Now, step 2 in this is you're going to slow the tempo. As when tension spikes, your instincts speed up. Break the pattern. Slow your voice, slow your movement, slow your energy, because slowness isn't weakness. It's signal intelligence. It communicates, I'm not reacting, I'm evaluating. And it was Theodore Roosevelt who said, slow is smooth and smooth is fast. And number 3, you're going to lead to outcome. Gentlemen, you are not here to be right. Ladies, you are not here to be right. You're here to move the room forward. Don't speak to win an argument. Speak to anchor onto your mission. Guide conversations back to direction, not your fragile, insecure ego. Now, this reminds me of this client who I'm going to call Michael. Now, he'd shared with me, I learned to breathe in the last zone. I used to think leadership meant staying in control. Now I know it means staying grounded when control disappears. Guys, Michael's world went nuclear. A 7-figure contract imploded, his marriage cracked, his business partner betrayed him, and the old version, collapse, spiral, and blame. Now the new version, he's rooted in himself, he's slowed down, and he's got directed, intentional energy outputs. He didn't just survive the week. He emerged with a stronger deal, a deeper marriage, and total internal command. Tension did not take him out. It made him the man he used to fake being. This next section is what I call train inside the fire. The calmest man in the room always wins because he needs nothing from it. Now, this is something that I like to call the tension command drill. Now, gentlemen, this isn't theory. This is a blood on the mat style practice. And the goal of this is to master emotional command in live fire moments. Now, the first thing you'll do is I want you to identify 3 consistent tension points. whether it's home, business, internal. And then I want you to share when tension spikes. Do you root your body, slow your tempo, lead the moment back to the mission? And for your nightly reflection journal, where did I hold the frame and expand? Where did I collapse and why? Now, give these some thought. Give yourself some time with yourself, by yourself productively, not just doom scrolling on your phone, trying to waste time doing all of these things. Gentlemen, when you choose to step in to the fire and lead others through it, this is where most men tap out, right here in the heat. They say things like, now's not the right time. I just need to get through this season. Once things settle down, I'll lead better. But guys, things don't settle. They just continue revealing and revealing. And what they're revealing is whether you're a man who waits for ideal conditions or a man who builds his fire inside the storm. Because tension doesn't knock, it breathes in. It strips away your scripts and strategies and demands you lead from the center. Not your skills, not your knowledge, your presence. The world doesn't need more clever men. It needs more calm and grounded men, more clear men, more centered men who do not flinch when the stakes spike and when tensions get high. It's not about getting better. It's about becoming unshakable. Gentlemen, your ability to stay rooted in tension is the ceiling for your leadership. Your business will never outgrow your nervous system. Your family will never feel safer than your tone under pressure. Your mission will never move faster than your clarity in chaos. So when the moment comes, and it will, when the argument erupts, when the project implodes, when someone is just questioning your leadership, when fear grabs your throat and tells you to back down, you won't. Because you're not reacting, you're showing up purposeful. You are forging the man that you've always wanted to be. You'll root your body, slow your breath down, anchor your words, and lead the moment, not escape it. And just a reminder, the real world is not waiting for your perfection. The tension is not my enemy, it's my gym. This conversation is not a threat, it's my test. The storm is not chaos, it's my crown being forged. The world isn't waiting for your perfection. It's watching how you move under pressure. What others spiral, you will anchor. What others shout, you will breathe. What others posture, you will lead. And in that, you won't be louder. You'll be able to recognize that the storm is not chaos. It's the crown being forged. The conversation is not a threat. It's a test. And when you choose to recognize that the world is not waiting for your perfection, it's watching how you move when there's pressure. It's watching when others spiral, will you anchor? When others shout, will you breathe? And when others posture, will you lead? This doesn't mean that you need to be louder, doesn't mean you need to be faster. It means you need to be deeper. And here's my final statement for today. Today wasn't just another training. It wasn't just a bunch of words. It was a proving ground. It was a place that you get to stand at the intersection of continuing to play small and not escaping the heat and staying comfortable under the guise of wisdom, or you can step into recognizing that the battlefield is real, but so is the man that you're becoming inside of it. So let the world throw its chaos. You'll respond with stillness and grace. You'll respond with being sovereign. You'll respond like a man who doesn't need to control the room because he already owns himself and knows who he is. Now, if you got anything from this training, I want you to recognize this, that the tension that you're feeling could be like the tension of a rubber band. And tension doesn't break a man. It reveals the one who's already broken in a way that is beautiful. Gentlemen, if you feel like you are broken, if you feel like you are under tension and you are under fire, leadership isn't built in your highlight reels and the exciting moments of life. It's built in the pressure and moments that no one sees. This isn't where you're meant to stay. These are the growing pains that are moving you closer to where you desire to be. There's a version of you that doesn't give up, and he's waiting for you. He's on the other side of all of the things that you continue to tell yourself are too hard, too challenging, too much, will take too long, and it's not the right time to do. There's a version of you that never gives up, and there's a version of you that has everything that you want to have. But you need to recognize that that tension is not just going to go away. If you continue to avoid, you've accepted that what you're avoiding today is going to cost you everything tomorrow. Tension ignored does not vanish, my friends. It compounds quietly and relentlessly. It becomes the unspoken frustrations that lead to resentment. It becomes the unmade decisions that become missed missions and opportunities of connection. It compounds into those untouched fears that become the slow suicide of your full potential. It's not even a glass ceiling at that point. It's barely surviving. As avoiding does not protect peace, it kills every aspect of autonomy in your life. It doesn't help keep things safe. It keeps things stagnant, and that is eventually going to simmer out. And I don't want that for you. Conflict is not the problem, gentlemen. Your relationship to it is. Tension is not something to fear. It is the forge that sharpens you. Guys, weak men dodge conflict. Forged men walk into the fire with a sense of calmness, clarity, and grounded along the way. Inside every real tension is a deeper standard that's trying to be born. Gentlemen, that's all I got for you for today. I appreciate y'all being here. Take an assessment of your life. Where do I have tension? And what is this showing me? And how much longer can I go on before this snaps? I appreciate y'all being here. I'll see you on the next one. Peace.